Right, so we're interviewing Dallas Walton, executive chef of Riverstone Chap House in Suffolk, Virginia. First, I'd like to dive into further explain his background and culinary training as well as education.
Cooking's been part of my whole life since I was a kid. I come from a mixed family, Italian and black. So food was always the center of everything, holidays, day to day. We learned how to cook a lot of stuff from our parents from scratch. It's just how we did things. Outside of that, schooling-wise, I went to Johnson Wales, and then I finished here at TCC for hotel restaurant management. And then a lot of it was on the job. I've worked in places all around the state of Virginia, on the Eastern Shore, all over, and I've been here for the past 7 years.
Okay. So our main topic and focus is how U.S. seafood compares to the rest of the world, particularly in Italy. What would your initial explanation be when asked, how does U.S. seafood compare to the rest of the world?
So I am going to be looking at my phone. I've jotted down notes on this, sorry. It's pretty funny doing that or asking that, because the U.S. consumes quite a bit of seafood, especially here on the East Coast, West Coast as well, Gulf Coast, and we all like to claim that we have, Baltimore to here, Chesapeake Bay, we have blue crabs. You go down to the Gulf, they've got sport fish, they've got crawfish. You go to the West Coast, you'll have the best fish tacos you've ever had. But the U.S. as a whole imports the majority of their seafood. The majority of the seafood that we consume here is from Asia, China, Korea, so on. And I'm 95% sure, I don't think it's an exact, but the most consumed seafood here is shrimp. And you hear about North Carolina shrimp, that we get our own. There's Gulf shrimp, so on. We import the most of it, or the majority of it, sorry. But I would say that there really isn't a comparison, especially if you've ever had a chance to go to any part of Asia, Japan, or Italy. I mean, it's never going to compare. If you go to a sushi place somewhere in the States and have an uni dish compared to fresh uni out of the water in Italy, it's two different things, you know? You can say ambiance plays into it, you can say location plays into it, but it's just the freshness. It's never been flash frozen, it wasn't overnighted on ice. It's completely different. But then I could say the same thing about crabs here. You know, you go to Maryland for a crab picking, it's going to change your life. You're not going to have that in Italy. That's not a big thing. But yeah, I would say that for the most part, seafood in other parts of the world is going to be better because what we're getting here is coming from there.
Okay.
It all has to do with preparation, but freshness is number one overall.
Okay, for quality. Okay,
Yeah.
So it's more region specific
Absolutely.
and different grades. Quality. Okay. When it comes to seafood, specifically in catering, what kind of opportunities do you find or challenges do you find?
Oh, seafood caterings. I mean, in layman's, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Off-site seafood caterings are always kind of difficult because seafood's fragile. You know, now if you're talking about transporting fish and you've got the means to transport it safely and do it on site, prepare it on site, sure. Cooking seafood and having to transport it hot and reheat it, you never want to do that. It is completely doable. I've done it many a times, but I would say the easiest seafood caterings I've ever done were sushi, because it's raw, it's pretty, it's easy to present. You're not having to worry about reheating it. Seafood's fragile. It really is. Overcooked shrimp are rubbery. Overcooked fish is no fun. But it's completely doable. I mean, it's just prepare it right and the quality of the initial product.
Okay. Okay. How does a specific type of fish, for example, you know, a scallop versus soft shell crab, guide how you would build the rest of your entree with starches and vegetables, and how would you even, you know, pair an appetizer, or
Sure.
why is an Oscar crab meat on steak?
Gotcha. It's all about the pairing. I mean, it's all about your palate. I mean, when it comes to anything, especially seafood, I'm super picky because I like to be super simple with it. Soft shell crabs, for example, summer. So you're thinking summer vegetables. You don't want to go starch. Everybody always wants to deep fry and stuff. But one of the best soft shell crabs I ever had was on a bao bun. Like, that's what we're getting ready to do here. Steamed bao bun, cilantro pineapple slaw, and a pan-seared soft shell crab. It's phenomenal. Talking East Coast wise, you're talking crab cakes, and everybody's mother has a different version of crab cakes. But one of the best crab cakes I ever had was crab meat tossed with crab roe and held together with Ritz crackers and mayonnaise. You know, and there wasn't a starch with it. But I always like to go light. Seafood and pasta is always pretty great, but I always like some type of green or vegetable acid, some bitterness to actually bring out the ideal of that seafood.
Okay. Professionally, how do you feel about preparing and working with seafood? Is it of your favorite things to do? Do you find it challenging? Do you have?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's challenging. I love seafood. I grew up with it. You know, we always went fishing. We went offshore fishing. We had crab pots. One of my favorite things to do is a crawfish boil or crab pickings. I would say the average person probably doesn't know how to properly break down a fish. I say that you should. You know, it should be taught. But I learned most of my fish fabrication from my family, and then it was fine tuned in school. Yes, but yeah, I mean, I've got guys that work for me that can't properly break down a whole salmon. You know?
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of personal experience went into your professional.
Absolutely, yeah. I learned,
also living on the coast.
yes,
too.
also living. Again, if we lived in the middle of the U.S., you're not going to see it. You know.
Yeah. Do you have any other tidbits that you would add when it comes to just working with seafood in the catering industry, the culinary industry?
Respect it for what it is. A quality product doesn't need anything to cover it up. If you've got beautiful, fresh scallops, do a scallop crudo. If you've got fish scraps that somebody's talking about doing fish cakes, do a ceviche. You know, let it be what it is. Let it be as fresh as possible. Don't get me wrong, one of my favorite things is fish and chips. You know, it's a go-to for me if I go to some Odo bar, but one of the best things you can ever have is just a fresh piece of salmon with a little bit of lemon, some white wine in there, and just open it up, salt and pepper. Let it be what it is. Don't mask it with tartar sauce and all this stuff. Seafood's got an amazing flavor profile from sweet to salty, and I feel like the average Joe just wants to dunk it in ketchup or tartar sauce. You know, let seafood be what it is.
I actually really like that answer. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.